You know what we're about to do, chat. So this is the second clip that Ed's reacted to. He's reacted to Could This Robot Teach You 300 BPM? This is the next one, okay? He's cropped my face out. Thanks for that. And he probably needs this video. I mean, to be fair, he also probably needs the video where I talk about the backwards law and about how you gotta let go to actively improve. Think it could help him on his grindathon, but he reacts to the clip quickly. Okay.
The CSR rework was actually good.
Welcome back to Bubbleman Clips, reacted by BMC.
Reacted by Bubbleman. He just sits... I checked this out because I saw it was 13 minutes long. He sits through the entire clip like that. Just sat there looking at it, like doing nothing. I'm glad I'm interesting, okay? I'm glad I'm interesting. But he gets here. Most rhythm games don't have many years, and once change and development stops,
okay, I'm not sure if I agree with that.
Is when it starts to die and stagnate. So he doesn't like the idea of the meta moving.
I'm not sure if I agree with that, like, competitive system opinion because of Smash.
So what I want to do now is listen to his reasonings why and open up that dialogue, because I don't think he's looking at it from the right direction, you know? I don't think he's looking at it from the right frame of mind.
Like, a meta being defined by a player who can achieve groundbreaking skill and all of a sudden flip a character from, like, B rank to S tier, I like that.
If you don't know what he's referring to by that, there is a Smash video. There it is, there it is. It's literally just titled A Video About Melee, okay? I'll link this. Anyway, here's his take on this.
There are multiple aspects of the game that need to change in order for what I feel like to be a fair system to be implemented. Yes, everyone knows that there are issues in the current ranking system, but my definition of the best Osu player is different from other people. And that is why, it's why I'm so critical of the current system. It's because
Hold on, you're right, actually. One sec. Let me just, Oh, this is really difficult, actually. It's like that, isn't it? His microphone's on his right. Oh, I'm bendy enough for this, but I'm not at the same time. I'm a bit too fat for putting my leg up on my chair. Oh! There we go.
it doesn't match my expectations, right?
Oh, he's in shorts! Hold on. Okay, we're good.
When I think of the best Osu player, I think that they should be able to consistently score higher on any map that they play.
Okay.
Against someone else. If you compare that player's score versus someone else's score, if they are a better player, they should always destroy them. Always. But that brings into question two things. The scoring system must be extremely accurate to judge whether or not a score is better. And then the maps need to be of good enough quality so that it is a challenge that is recognized and accepted by every single player who engages with the system. Every single player.
So the trouble with a system like that is on any one given day, you are going to be better or worse than you were on any other given day, right? What we have as a system right now is a snapshot in time of a player who set a good score and also got lucky setting that score, which is on their profile forever. It won't change, it won't go away. There's no variance in this. It is just this score at this time on this day was this, and it's on your profile forever. I get what he's saying about the selection of maps, but if you look at a discipline like Trackmania, you have exactly the same system as Osu in theory, because you have this player set this run at this point in time after this many retries. And so the best players in the world may not be at the top of some of the maps because they just have not played them as much as an arguably worse player who has sank thousands more hours into the game than arguably the best player, right? That is why there are two different disciplines in Trackmania. We have the live competition and we have the leaderboard competition, where the live competition is the Trackmania, is it called Grand League? And you have the leaderboards, which don't impact on the Grand League at all. What you're saying here, if you want direct comparison between every player to be the only thing that gives a player their value in the ranking system's eyes, you're essentially also just completely ignoring modern sports as well, right? If a competitor sets a world record but is less consistent at being able to achieve that record than, say, someone who can perform like to 99% of their skill every time, who wins that, right? Do you want the world record holder to win, or do you want the more consistent performer, the more consistent athlete to win? Who, in your eyes, is the better participant within that discipline? And some people would say consistency. Some people like big number. And a third part of this, okay, if you value direct competition, if you say one person should beat another person every single time if they're better than them, .com, that is an ELO rating. And that is on a fixed competitive environment, I guess. This never changes. In essence, chess will never change. And so it can be given that benefit of the direct comparison, because there's no different maps, there's no different songs, there's no multi-discipline aspect of chess. It is just sit down at a chessboard and play. And that is the same as Smash. There is no difference in the competitive scene of Smash at all. The only reason that DK got picked up is because the game changed to the point where something new started to work.
There are no maps that you can avoid. You have to be good at everything, or you're good at nothing. All right? That is my vision.
No. That's like saying, like, if you want to be an Olympian, you have to be in every Olympic sport, or you're not good at sports. If you can run 100 meters, you also have to run a marathon, or else you're not good at running. What type of sense does that make? What type of use case is there for being able to generalize to everything and saying, I'm better than you at racket sports? Like, badminton? It's very different from tennis. It's like, does pickleball count as a... Actually, does pickleball count as a sport? Has anyone played pickleball? Have any of you actually tried that sport? Because it just does not seem to me like a sport. It feels like
expecting you.
Boring tennis. It's definitely a sport. I love it. Huh? It just doesn't seem... It just seems like boring tennis to me. It just seems like... In a string quartet, you've got the violins, which pump out the melody and the harmonies. You've got the cello, which gives you the bass, the rumbling, the thing you feel in your belly. And then you've just got the viola, which is there to be there, you know? And the pickleball is the viola of racket sports, court sports, I guess.
Under the vision, everything will be custom maps. All right? Custom
okay,
songs,
I believe it.
The scoring system needs to be completely uprooted, right? Everything needs to be thrown out. We need to track stats that the current game doesn't track.
See, this I agree with.
We need to understand where in a map that a player broke at. We need to know what pattern that they broke at. We need to understand the complexity of that pattern. We need to understand the replay, okay? The current system doesn't understand that.
Okay, and so within the confines of the current system, we can't do that. And so you can't build that into the PP system as it stands.
In order to form the system that I think would be a system that I would respect, everything has to change. And that is the vision. Basin was good. So what you're saying is that Emmerich is still the best player. Emmerich objectively is the best player. He's proven that. Like, there's like,
why? Yeah, he's talking like some
no cap, dude. Emmerich
Marvel
legitimately
supervillain.
Is
he's monologuing.
Okay, I don't think miles ahead of literally everyone else, but like
Osu Endgame or something.
Emmerich overall, I think, crushes any fucking person on any fucking map 99% of the time.
Okay, go back.
We need to understand the map, like that they should be able to consistently score higher on any map that they play against someone else. If you compare that player's score versus someone else's score, if they are a better player, they should always destroy them.
Okay.
He may not be like the best. His strongest skill may not be easy, but I think, again, I would have to completely uproot the mapping
He's now just talked himself into a corner because it's like...
scene. right? Everything would be custom. There will be a reasonable cap on skill, a reasonable cap. I don't know what that's going to be. I think the star rating system is bullshit too. The star rating system needs to be completely uprooted because the star rating algorithm is not perfect.
So you're living in a world that you are answering physics questions from year 1 of university in, where ignore friction, ignore air resistance, ignore outside acting forces, only consider the forces that are in this diagram. We will never get perfect. We live in a world. We live in a society, guys. We live in a society. And I just think Ed doesn't get that. Good enough works because good enough is constantly changing. I don't like this take at all. I like the take of, like, you can choose to respect the system or not, but the system has an inherent amount of respect in it because it will always value a skill set. Change is good. Change is good. Change is good. Different systems to play are good, but we're talking about a big number here. We're talking about looking for big number, which is the same as Trackmania. You look for small time. That's what you're ultimately going for, right? The best players in the game. Is this the actual leaderboard? Regular Nadeo tracks. Okay. The more consistent player has 2 world records. The 5th most consistent, I guess, player has 11 world records. Who is a better player here? Can you objectively say that the guy who is more consistent over every track is a better player than the guy who has 11 world records and may not have sank as many hours into other tracks as the first place player? I know nothing about this. I am just using this as hypothetical. Okay, come after me in the comments. I don't like, there is always nuance. Okay, there's always nuance. But in this scenario, you cannot objectively say one or the other is better. Okay, it's all up to what you value. And so, given a system like this, given scores like, and let's go back here. Given scores like this on a rank 4K player's profile, by the way, are they one of the best players in the game? I would argue yes, and I would argue you don't need a ranking system to tell you that, because you can mature past the point where a ranking system means everything to you. This ranking system, you can ignore it after a certain point. You can listen to it for how good your base mechanic is in the thing it values, but ultimately, it means very little to nothing. There is no good way to replace this system as of right now. And so within the confines of the ability to change the system, this is a good enough system.
There will be no maps that will exist that go beyond the highest difficulty.
Also, what Ed is talking about here is different rhythm games have this sort of system where they have set maps to compete on, seasonal leaderboards, rolling releases. Like, Osu doesn't work on that model. Just doesn't work on that model.
Unless we want to stir up the pot and make a groundbreaking event of the first challenger level or whatever. An elo-based system is not possible, in my opinion. What makes it what makes it extremely difficult to figure this out in the context of Osu is the fact that there are different difficulties. There are easy maps, there are hard maps, there are insanes, etc., etc., etc. Right? All right, last message. Basically, do you want a limited number of good maps for ranking? Yes. I think the maps that are played in an elo-based system should be tightly controlled. Tightly. Extremely tightly controlled. In fact, so tightly controlled that some maps may even be retired in favor of newer seasons. But anyways, Ed's first hot take. I'm so proud of him. Listen, this is just the vision. It is the vision.
See, he's right on a few of his takes, is I think the good part. But he is wrong with the take that disagreeing with this reason that Osu has stayed alive for as long as it is. You shouldn't be restricting it like that. Do you think Elo will come to Osu anytime soon? No. I wouldn't want it either. Speaking as an experienced tournament player, I wouldn't want it. There aren't enough tournaments. The tournaments that do get played, there's 3 or 4 high-level tournaments, and there is a huge mixture of teams that enter them. Wasn't Osu 1v1 Elo a thing already? Yes, and it was inaccurate. The people who should have been higher up in the ELO system weren't, because they didn't play enough tournaments to be high up in the system. And they didn't face off against the top players as often as they should do for an ELO system to work. The reason Chess's ELO system works is because these guys all play hundreds of games a year against every other player around their ELO. But in tournaments, you get very few games over a long period of time. We could look in on this. Vikanze is going on right now, and all of these rating points are comparable. Okay, all of the rating points are comparable. The tournament is only with the best players, and there's no knockout. So everyone is playing everyone, and that's when an ELO system works. When an ELO system doesn't work is when there is knockout, because as soon as you've lost twice, you're gone. Either way, Ed's take about... This has been a good discussion, actually. Ed's take about if you're not good at everything, you're good at nothing is awful. That take smoked out the kitchen. Every smoke alarm in a 30-mile radius is going off. Seriously destroys players like GN who are extraordinarily good at some skills. Yes, that are not in the meta. But we all know their name because they're a good player and they set good scores and they get notoriety anyway. The ranking system is not for deciding who the best player is. It's for deciding who the best player within the scope of the system is. There's a great starting point there for you to get a high rank, turn your mechanics up to 11. You have the fundamental skill to get a high rank, which you can then take away, apply to tournaments, apply to reading, apply to flashlight, whatever the f*** you want. Most of the good players in this game are able to achieve a high ranking if they spend the time to do so. A rating system is only accurate when everybody that is encompassed within that system chooses to participate wholeheartedly in it. We have a 5-digit tournament scene where most people have the skill of mid 3 digits. Tell me how that rating system can be seen as completely fair and objective. That will exist in any setting in this game. That will never go away. It's funny as hell seeing the exact same clip be naturally created again. I stand by my take. I like our PP system. There are clear problems, but it is cool. I like the PP system because unlike all of these tracks, which have been fixed for the last 20 years, and the time you can achieve on it is essentially finitely improvable, we can move the boundaries, we can move the goalposts in the PP system, which means that sometimes the best players in the system will be the ones that are rewarded for aim. And sometimes the best players in the system will be the ones that are rewarded for speed. And it's always about what is undervalued then gets boosted. And that just sounds like any other game that is taken competitively. Your character's bad in League of Legends? Okay, let's buff it. It's now too good, let's nerf it again. Something new has come along? Oh, a new character's been released? Oh man, broken, overpowered. Let's take it down a notch, man. Like, that's my take on this whole thing, right? Is what he's saying is not a change to the system. What he's trying to propose is a different system altogether, okay? That is not the ranked system in Osu. It is some entirely different, based on Bimani Games system. Your take is still the same take as in the video he was reacting to, and it won't change. He didn't bring up a good point in argument to that take. He just brought some points up and took the take in a different direction, you know? Negativity towards PP and scores is becoming very harmful. See, I had that same mindset for... Hold on. I had the same take for a long time, where I thought like he did. And I thought, you know, to be the best player, to be the one of the best players, you have to be good at everything. And I hate performance points. It sucks. You only good at one thing and you gain rank. Wah, I can't compete. Wah, but I'm really good. Wah. Was essentially my take of the game. And yeah, sure, you are only good at one thing a lot of the time if you're gaining ranks, because that is what the system's rewarding the most. But you gain notoriety anyway if you're really good at everything. I don't like the thought that performance points is inherently bad because it is a flawed system. It's a flawed system that we've been using for the last 10 years. Like, dude, the game is still here. In fact, it's thriving more than ever, honestly, right now. You're either looking at your rank and you're going, oh man, I suck. Or you're looking at your rank and you're going, that's low. Okay, let's play the game.